Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Boom. Today we are going to be going over the Mass Effect train wreck and the Nintendo soon-to-be train wreck. Now, I understand a lot of people bought into the Switch. It's one of the fastest-selling Nintendo consoles. It's broken records. But ever since then, it's actually slowed down. The hype has slowed down because people started to, I guess, lose their, what would you call it, nostalgia goggles. Ever since No Man's Sky happened, a lot more people have been more skeptical of the video game industry, and I applaud them for it. You are a consumer, you have every right to question what you are buying or to demand a specific level of quality for what you feel is appropriate to the dollar value. The Mass Effect train wreck is one of those awesome examples, and there's a little bit going on with the new Nintendo Switch as well. Mass Effect Andromeda had a $40 million budget, which isn't really the largest out there, but it's still pretty big. I mean, you think about a video game that has tons of quest lines, voice acting, artwork done, features and things like that, multiplayer, yada yada yada. You're thinking $40 million, man, this could be a pretty good game. But what happened is it went to a studio in Canada, one of the EA branches, and they never really made a game on their own. I'm not trying to justify EA or, justify why the game is so broken. But you have instances where characters are standing still in a T-pose, which is, imagine you standing there kind of like you're at attention with your arms out to your side, kind of flapping like a bird, except just frozen. You have instances where characters are sliding off screen, their heads are doing weird glitches, their eyes are doing strange things. In combat, people are flying into the air that shouldn't be flying in the air, and things are stuck into the wall. It's just a very unpolished mess, and they still demanded $59.99 for it. Now, granted, I do have a friend that did pay for it, and he says that he enjoys it, and he hasn't experienced any of the bugs that have been so apparent in every other person's copy of the game. Maybe you're lucky, buddy. Maybe that's just the way the dice rolls. Some glitches happen for some people, and some don't happen for other people. That's just the way it is. But that still doesn't mean that the product overall is a fantastic product. What you see right now are websites like IGN and stuff like that giving above average reviews for it simply because they feel like they kind of have to, and they want to try and dodge just how shoddy some of the animation work, or actually most of the animation work, is. Don't do that. You need to be honest, and that's the only thing that's going to get people to trust you again on a consumer level. Anyone who takes IGN or GameSpot seriously, hell, even if you take Metacritic seriously, it's iffy, right? Now, Metacritic, they take tons of the website's reviews and average them together to give it an overall score. So they take IGN, GameSpot, and Polygon and stuff like that, and they merge those scores together to get the average, and then you get the professional rating of it, and then you also have user ratings of it. And sometimes user ratings are vastly different from the reviewer rating, and that's a pretty big case with Andromeda, because the people, despite the ratings that are definitely spam, a large majority of the people who bought Mass Effect Andromeda are now considering it as a joke. It's like some kind of joke game. There's no amount of patches that will fix the things that are broken with this game. Now, I'm not going to be a bandwagoner here and try and say, don't buy this game, it's a big piece of shit. I will be honest, I have not played it myself, okay? Maybe one day I will, but as of right now, I'm looking at this product, I'm looking at lots of gameplay for it, and it's just not promising. I don't think that this would be a valid use of my time, especially, with so little time that I have between work and school. So let's go back to the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch, right out of the gate, like I said, had really fast sales, but it has a little bit of, just a teensy weensy bit of the Andromeda hype to it. And I mean just right out the gate kind of hype. Originally, when Andromeda came out, tons of people were hyped for it, especially, the hardcore fans that even tried to apologize for how bad the ending of Mass Effect 3 was. But then you also have the Switch people that want to apologize for all the faults and broken, I guess, pieces of the Switch. And I get that. I get that. You have this brand loyalty, and that's fine. But you need to realize you're paying $300 for a console. Just when are you going to draw the line for being defensive about your purchase? When are you going to finally say, this part could have been better. This part could have been improved upon. The Nintendo Switch, for some people, and I wish that there was an actual statistic for it out, just like there was with the Red Ring of Death for the Xbox 360s, but so many people had faulty systems. Their systems weren't reading games, making loud noises that wouldn't stop until the battery died. Some systems weren't even powering on. For some reason, the charge cable, if you were to try and charge your little Switch off of your laptop or a computer or something else, instead of it drawing power, it would actually give power, meaning that you'd be able to charge your cell phone off of it instead of vice versa. It didn't grab power, it gave power, which is bad because, well, if you're on the move, like most people would be, which is what they intended with the Switch, what if you're in a hotel room and you want to charge it off your laptop and it's charging your laptop and not the other way? Your laptop's plugged into the wall. It's fine, but it still wants to charge your laptop. That's a no-go. There are serious issues with the controller. Can you imagine a controller? You're maybe, let's say, 10 feet away from your TV and console, at minimum, and your hand overlaps over, let's say, the antenna area of the controller, and now all of a sudden, it's the controller starts kind of janking around on the screen. Your character's not moving the way that they should be, all because your hand is in the way of this one slight area on the controller. That's an actual thing. That is shoddy design. That is shoddy engineering. And it's not until I see improvements in something like that I'm okay with that. Now, that is an underlying issue with all Switches. This isn't some out of the box, you have a random chance if your controller's not really working. Every single controller, if your hands get in the way, it will start breaking up the connection between the controller and the system. There were even some people who had issues of the screen getting scratched thanks to the dock. The dock, by the way, is an overpriced, pretty much cable that connects to your TV. It is a box, and if you want to buy it separately, if for some reason you need to buy it separately, it's overpriced, and it's just a cable that connects it. Tons of people have already made their own custom ones that won't scratch the screen or just easy plug and play. It's amazing to me just how much people are willing to defend with these consoles. I wish I knew how much of these consoles failed or had problems right out the gate. Some people who bought their games didn't even have data on the little chips that they got. Like, you go into a store, imagine buying a game, it doesn't matter if it's a disc or whatever, you put in the game, and then it tells you that there's no data on it. Now, nothing's wrong with your system. All of your other games play. But for some reason, this disc has no data on it. What do you say to that? How do you defend that? Well, that was bound to happen with a few ones. And I get it. Some of it may be blown out of proportion, right? Especially with YouTubers like Kroby who is notoriously good at finding a lot of, I guess, glitchy and bad problems and editing it in a way that is very concise and compact. Just a lot of the negative compacted into one video, and there's not really a whole lot of positive. But he does show valid points in his videos. For instance, with No Man's Sky, he pointed out how many lies Hello Games talked about in interviews and things like that, and then pointed out what actually happened in the game and what streamers were complaining about and what other review sites were complaining about. There is some truth to this Nintendo Switch problem, and it's a quality control problem. Now, they are going to be doubling up the production of Nintendo Switches, and I'm scared for them. I would love for Nintendo to have a fantastic system. I love the 3DS, right? I don't use it anymore, but when I did use it, it was a fantastic handheld, and I would love to see them try and beat that again. But the Switch is not the answer. Their shoddy craftsmanship and engineering when it comes to the Switch is not the answer. The Switch is their attempt at trying to merge home console and portable gaming, and I get where they're coming from. It wasn't a bad attempt, right? They have the brand name, they have the money to throw away on it, they have the IPs, the new Legend of Zelda, but that's no reason to skimp on the quality control of the system. It's a mess. Their own support page, Nintendo's official support page, when you want to report a dead pixel on the screen, says that if you have a dead pixel, it is no reason to return your product. It is nothing to be worried about. If you were to buy a cell phone, right? Let's say it's a $600 cell phone contract or something similar, and there's a pixel right there in the middle of your screen, and it doesn't change color, it doesn't work, it's just always black, it never turns on. That's a dead pixel. You'd be pissed, wouldn't you? You'd say, hey, look, there's a dead pixel on this phone. It should be brand new, fresh out of the box. You mind if I exchange it real quick? And of course they're going to say yes, because that's just their policy. But why all of a sudden is it Nintendo's policy to tell their consumers that a dead pixel is nothing to worry about? That is beyond me. That actually makes me think that they know that the craftsmanship of their console is shoddy, and they're trying to cover up for it. They're even trying to convince you that the problems are nothing to worry about. How far would they be willing to go with that? How far would they be willing to say, oh, well, it's actually a feature that you can charge your laptop with your portable gaming console that only lasts 2 to 3 hours? I love the fact that there are so many people right now opening their eyes to what quality control is. And they're actually saying something. Not just with their voices or with Twitter or anything like that. They're saying something with their wallets. They're saying something, I'm not going to buy this. And that also brings up the whole Yooka-Laylee thing that's going on right now. It's one thing to be, and I'm not going to take sides on this, it's one thing to be a developer and I guess drop someone who's part of the production or just has at least a role in your video game in some kind of way. You're dropping them because of maybe legal reasons, or maybe you're dropping them because they outright did something extreme, would be, I guess, the case. But in this instance, you got rid of a beloved character because they had different political views than the head of the team. And they were willing to back that up. And what happened is tons of people wanted refunds on their game. Yooka-Laylee kind of took a really big hit because tons of people don't think it's fair to cut out a beloved character who's voice acted by someone that millions of people enjoy and say just because you don't like their political opinion, you can't be in our video game anymore. You're voting with your wallet. You're saying, I want a return. And they even tried blocking people who are asking for returns. They even tried saying that you can't have your money back, or they just tried to outright ignore them. But guess what? You can call up your credit card company and ask for a chargeback. You can say, this is a product that is no longer meeting my expectations. I would like my money to be charged back. And they pretty much get sent a bill for it. You have the power as a consumer to do something. And it's amazing that so many people are starting to realize this. Just keep up the good work. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep shopping smart. It's also happening with VR right now. VR prices are going down, and I'm happy to see that. In fact, I forgot what it was called. I think it was Robot Recall. I saw some gameplay footage for that. That actually looked fun. That actually looked like something I would genuinely enjoy. Sure, it was a stationary shooter, but it mixed things up. It allowed me to throw things, and it allowed me to slow down and block bullets and do all this other kind of really Matrix-y kind of stuff. It took what you were used to seeing in the VR market and mixed it up. You need more stuff like that. I actually got excited for that. Like, I was actually, for the time that I was watching that, and still just a little bit, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the people who have VR headsets because they at least get to play that one game I was interested in. Everything else I don't want to touch because it all just comes off as somewhat generic, right? But I would love to play that one game. Do more of that. Take the original concepts that are out there on the market and switch it up. No, that wasn't a Nintendo joke. Switch things up. Make things a little bit more different from the cookie cutter, right? Break free from the mold a little bit. Don't be scared to risk something. Where are the games that are really raising the bar here? And don't tell me Mass Effect Andromeda is one of them. Don't you dare.